Welcome back to Unit 4 of 4th grade Earth Systems Processes that Shape the Earth. Last week, most of you did an awesome job learning about the law of superposition and were able to describe that. And for those of you that entered the E-session, hopefully the analogy of the ice cream cone will definitely help you in the future if anyone ever asks you about it. This week, we're going to kind of build our knowledge back from the last couple units in social studies and just get a reminder really quick of mapping. And then we're going to be moving on from there with some weathering and erosion. So the first thing that I want you to do is create a Google document titled Maps, and then you're going to log into Discovery Education and watch these two videos to the right. One of them is about 15 minutes long and the other is only 3, so just be aware that the first one's going to be longer, so if you need to take breaks, you're more than welcome to do that. Then on your document, I want you to answer the following questions, and you can do this throughout the video or you can wait until the end. First of all, what is a compass rose? What is the goal of a contour map, which is something that you should have known from our last history or our geography unit. What is the goal of a political map? Why is the ability to read a map so important? Now you'll be creating your own map. And with this, I do want you to create a new one, not one that you used in your last geography unit. So take a piece of paper and draw a map of your yard. Make sure to include different trees, the dwelling you live in. So some of you would live in an apartment, some would be a house. Any sidewalks, driveways, or gardens. And make sure that as you draw this, it doesn't have to be perfect, but make sure that it's pretty accurate so that I could actually picture what your yard actually looks like. Make sure on this map, and this is really probably the most important thing, to include these things. Label different important things, put a compass rose, and make sure that you draw it to scale. An example of that is if you're showing where a small tree is, do not make it the size of your home. Make the tree much smaller. I'm not asking you necessarily to draw or write what the scale of your picture is, but just make sure that things are relative to one another. So if your house is very large and a bush is very small, you don't make them the same size in your picture. For your math connection this week, I want you to open your Math Connections Unit 4 document, and you are going to be learning a little bit about scale. So using the scale to the right, and make sure you have a ruler for this, I want you to find out about how far it is in miles from the east Oklahoma border to the west Georgia border. So make sure you know what east and west are and what those states are. How many miles is it from the north border of Mississippi to the southernmost border of Mississippi? And how many miles wide is Alabama at its greatest width? So keep in mind that I said greatest width. Then, for literacy this week, I want you to create a Google document titled Erosion. And as you do your literacy, I'm just going to remind you, because I always have to, do not fall behind on this. These are the simple steps that will get you to the end of the unit, and you won't be overwhelmed at that point. If you don't do this week and you wait till next week or the week after, you're going to become very overwhelmed and feel like you have too much work to do. If you stay up to date, it's going to be much easier for you, because the last week of the unit is always going to be an editing week. As you watch the YouTube video on how to set up your paper, make sure that you set up your paper as you see in the tutorial. That being said, this unit, we're really going to be looking at you following directions. So there should be titles, subtitles, and sections. Remember, this week, the work is not going to be too drastic with your literacy connection. That's why it's so important to get it done so you don't become overwhelmed in the future.